special episode of Who Corner to Corner. On this episode, a monumental event is going to occur, and that is that Paul is going to apologise to me on air.
Oh, you snuck that one in. What's that, 20 seconds in, and you put it in already? Oh, you bugger. Just because I texted you that I might do a live apology on a podcast. Yes, it might happen. It might not. It depends.
Well, what is this apology for, you may ask? Well,
yes, go on.
Well, if you've listened to us before, you may have had the misfortune of our discussions about IMAX film screens.
Call them discussions, exactly.
Rants. One-way battering.
Accurate.
In which I have tried to extol the virtues of going to see a film in IMAX, or as I like to call it, the only real way to see a film these days. And these have fallen, as Paul just said, unsuccessfully, because Paul had been to an IMAX in some shithole and thought that it was absolutely appalling, that the picture quality was bad, the sound was
terrible,
unbalanced,
awful.
The auditorium was dirty, ratty,
it really was,
etc., etc.
Rats the size of dogs there was.
And I said, the IMAX near me and all the ones I've been to are exquisite. And
all the ones I've been to have been lovely. You're so working class, Paul. You can only afford to go to a shithole in the middle of nowhere.
And I was surprised, because IMAX generally sort of everything has to be
spit it out.
I can't think of the word. Everything has to be calibrated correctly, and it has to be all checked over and all this sort of thing. And they increasingly, big directors send letters to the cinemas, like James Cameron's done it, Christopher Nolan, set the sound levels to this, set the brightness to this, do that. You know, this is the optimum way to play it. So with your experience of the IMAX, I was a bit surprised, and I thought, well, maybe you're such a cinephile snob that even an IMAX wasn't good enough for you, and your claim that your home TV setup was better than an IMAX.
It was better than what I saw in Swindon, that's for sure.
It was laughably infuriating.
It was. Well, you did actually laugh, didn't you? Although I must admit, my home cinema setup is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's actually very awesome.
Home cinema stuff can be really good, but as you've now discovered,
it's on its own electricity ring and everything, mate.
There's no patch on an IMAX. It's
to be fair, right? An IMAX has to fill, right? The sound from an IMAX has to fill that space. Yeah. In my home, which is a lot smaller, doesn't have to fill that space. Yeah. So the sound can be a lot tighter. It can be calibrated much more easily and more precisely, because I'm always going to sit. I always sit in the same place. That's what my home cinema is calibrated for. Me sitting in that chair, watching TV from that angle.
Yeah. But it's like saying, watching a DVD of a live show is better than seeing the band live.
Nah, that's a whole different thing. That's completely different, because you've got a whole different soundstage completely. Although you can actually get really, really close, very, very close, with the right kit.
I'd say you could get very good, but it's never going to be.
No, it's not. That's not what I'm saying. I said you can get very close, very, very close, but you're not going to do it just by sticking it in I was going to say an MP3 player, but that makes me sound old. A Walkman, stick in a Walkman and put it on your headphones. Anyway, yes, okay, so let's get on with the apology then.
Yeah,
yes, IMAX is pretty good. It's actually quite awesome. I'm not going to lie, but the experience I had this weekend was way, way different to the experience I had in Cineworld in Swindon. So I'd only ever been to the one in Swindon, and I went to it twice, and it was god awful. I kid you not, mate. Well, you've heard me wax on about it. It was pure pesh. It really was. It was pesh. It was awful, because I honestly thought I was going to vomit throughout the whole thing, because the stink of the place and just the sheer horror of having to watch that massive dirty screen with all its rips and folds and tears and everything. And not only that, but the sound balance was just off. It was just like they dialed everything up into the red. Just whack it all up. And they think that's great. It wasn't. It was awful. So on Sunday, I went to see Supergirl at the Odeon Lux in Bristol, and it was beautiful. It was so smooth. I mean, it was loud, but it was balanced. It was calibrated. You know, the seats. Oh my God! Freya sat in there in the seat, and she was just like, look at these seats, and we hadn't even paid for the upgraded seats, just the standard seats.
That's what
like your place at the Everyman, where it's like a sofa.
Yeah,
it was like that, but it was leather. So it was very nice, and it was a good film, and it was so sharp. Obviously, laser projection, you know, all that sort of stuff, and Dolby Digital, everything. Actually, I don't know. Was it Dolby Digital? Might have been Atmos, where it's in the ceiling as well.
Yeah,
well, Dolby Digital can do ceiling, but it's not exclusive. I know it is actually Dolby Atmos. Actually,
it probably isn't Dolby.
But Dolby Digital is the way the sound's treated. So Atmos is how it's spread around. It's the environment. Digital is that's the precision element of it, if you like. But that's just what they call it. It's just another brand. But it was really good. It was beautiful.
IMAX is incredible. I think that the sort of consensus from filmmakers is that the branded Dolby screens are the best picture.
They're very good.
And sound, but they're not as big as IMAX. And when I went to the Avatar event at the smaller Odeon in Leicester Square, which is when Cameron was there, and they screened the Way of Water trailer for us in 3D, possibly in higher frame rate as well, on the Dolby screen. It was incredible, and I have to say I was disappointed I didn't get to go and see it on Dolby HFR, but IMAX is for me, you know, certainly for kind of event spectacle films and stuff, it's the only way to see things.
It was very nice. I'll just dug out that photograph of Freya now. So let me just pop that. I'll stick it in here, actually, can't I? I'll stick it in here.
If you're listening, you can't see it.
No, you can't see it, actually.
So you should
don't
head
worry
over
about
to
that.
YouTube. Talking of YouTube, whilst Paul sorts out, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be so nice to.
That's exciting.
We've been so close though for like 2 years, and we never.
Right. So I just did a couple more. Just a few more people.
Like 43.
And then we'll be good.
It's still not enough to get.
That's literally all we need.
Monetized, but it would be nice to hit 1,000.
Hey, we're not in this for the money, mate.
No, I know, but I'd like to hit 1,000. It'd be nice. So if you haven't done it, go and give us a subscribe. Hey, look at those.
There you go. There's Freya sat in the comfy seat. We got there quite early, so that's my seat. Look, it had like little recliner things and everything. That was pretty awesome. All
that's what it should be like. Yeah,
that's what it was like. See, this is what I'm talking about the cinema experience. I think really to survive, part of it is that it has to offer something that is worth paying the money for.
Well, most big
that's
films.
The kind of thing. The only, let me just say this before you go into that, right? Because hold on to that. The only thing that kind of annoyed me was the fact that actually it annoyed Frey more than me, because I was fine. I was sat in this seat here. Frey was over there. And it was like some bloke just came in and he sat down and he put a 3-course banquet meal out on his flip out table thing and started. And I absolutely bloody hate that. If I'd have been next to him, honestly, I really would have asked it. I'd be like, I know you pay for your ticket, mate, but you're really fucking me right off right now, stuffing your food in my face. And I know you got to take it because that's part of the cinema thing, but I hate it. I absolutely detest it like you would not believe.
Well, it's just about thinking about the people next to you. I mean, when I saw Way of Water, the guy next to me had a can of beer, and then he got his phone
shake
out.
It up.
No, I mean he cracked
what?
it open before it started. Then he got his phone out and started filming when the
kidding.
film started. And I sat there and I thought, I haven't waited 13 years for this bloke to fucking ruin this. And I thought I'll give him a few minutes, and then I went, so can you put your phone away, mate? Because I thought it's in 3D, so it's absolutely useless for you to watch back afterwards. And he did, and then when I saw Fire and Ash, which was midnight show, so it wasn't packed out, and there was the row I was on, a family of three came and sat next to me, and then they started chatting quite a bit during it, and I was sitting there thinking, I've waited 3 years for this. I'd really like you to shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
But I
we need
can't
to watch the
move
swearing
because it's really obvious that I'm
you're
moving.
getting stressed.
Yeah, and I think at one point I did say, "Sorry, could you keep it down?" And then I realised I didn't really speak English, and they probably didn't understand me.
Oh no!
So that didn't help at all, and there does always seem to be someone who just doesn't sort of seem to consider other people.
Yeah, just no kind of. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a packed out cinema. Not gonna lie, right? So he could have moved a few seats. He could have moved onto the row and below or somewhere like that.
Yeah,
you know, I know because he
busy.
came in like the worst thing also was the fact he came in after the film had started. It was 10 minutes in before he arrived in with his with his bag of food and his tray and everything. And it's like, what? I don't get it. And I know cinemas have to make money and they do it more by selling food and drink.
Yeah, they do.
But because if you're eating food in a cinema, right, and it's dark and you can't see, you're not focusing on the movie. And if it takes you, I don't know, 10 minutes to eat it, that's 10 minutes of the film. He's lost 20 minutes because he was 10 minutes late, another 10, 15 minutes because he's sat there scoffing his food. And he was doing it very loudly. Or it just seemed to be loud. Maybe I was kind of focusing on it too much. And it takes you, I mean, IMAX spend a lot of money creating this massive sense of immersion. The screen is the size of two houses. The sound is all enveloping, right? And you're in a comfy seat and you're part of the film. The movie is just a thing that happens around you, and there's some twat next to you scoffing bloody burgers, Doritos, Cheezos, whatever else it is, slurping on a bloody pint of Coke. No, not even a pint. It's like a gallon, 5 gallons of Coke in a plastic with a straw the size of a needle. So I don't get it, right? Serve food, eat it outside the auditorium. They should not allow people in the auditorium who haven't finished their meal.
But it's like you said, it's it's how the cinema makes money.
It is, but it puts me off. Honestly, I remember I went to see Blade Runner. Was it when they did a special years ago, and they did Blade Runner back in the cinema for a limited time only. And Blade Runner's like my top film ever. I mean, I just love it to pieces. Every scene, every bit of dialogue, all of it. I love it. And my best mate was down. I say my best mate. It was up until then. Was down from Manchester. He was staying over my gaff, right? And we'd arranged to go grab some nosh in a separate place, not the Odeon, and then go and watch Blade Runner. And we did that. And what is he? So we went to Subway, had a big massive Subway thing in Subway, ate it there. Went over to the cinema, got in, and it was packed. Like every seat was sold out because it was only a one-night showing. That was it. And it was, and then what happens? And there's that scene in Blade Runner, right? So it all goes dark, and you get that, and then it gives the whole Tyrell Corporation, replicants, Nexus 6, blah 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 blah, writing and stuff like that. And then all that breaks up, and it goes bling. Vangelis's music comes in. You get that cityscape. You get the police sliders go with their lens flare, the eyelash in what's her face, Rachel's kind of the reflection of the fire in Rachel's eyeball. That opening is just mega, right? And there's my mate Mike sitting next to me going, I'm like, what have you got? And like everybody was looking at us because he disrupted that very special moment. And he's no stranger to Blade Runner. He knows it, right? And the choice moment when everything is, you could hear a pin drop because everybody's waiting for Vangelis's music and those visuals to kick in. And they do. And all he was doing is rummaging around in a packet of humbugs or something stupid. Oh my God.
It is annoying. Yeah.
I
was going to say most big films now, the total percentage of money made is usually highest across premium format. So
I think it has
IMAX, Screen
otherwise
X,
you might as well watch it at home.
Yeah, exactly. So you're exactly right. You got to get people out, but then there's been a lot of debate about Supergirl and various other films like that because a lot of stuff is underperforming at the moment. And I think it's clear with Supergirl, the same with the Marvels, with you know, really anything kind of substantially female led
Yeah.
in the comic book world. Some people will try to deny it, but there's obviously an issue from the male fanboy side of
there
things.
is.
You know,
100%.
the women are okay if they're supporting and skimpy.
Or
but
tight,
any,
wear tight clothing and stuff like that.
anytime they take the lead, you know, they don't want to know. And you know, can you imagine actually feeling threatened by them? Which, you know,
I know. Yeah.
like why do so many Star Wars fans absolutely hate Ridley? You know, Daisy or whatever she's called. You know,
Daisy Ridley.
yeah. You know, and the vitriol at Brie and, you know, stuff for Captain Marvel and things.
It hasn't gone away, has it?
It hasn't, no.
And it
know.
won't while the people in charge of the world, you know, kind of reinforce those messages.
Yeah.
So, you know, the people who feel that way will just feel ever more vindicated and emboldened by, you know, by what they got to say.
It's really sad to see, you know, Millie Alcock's looks being, you know, criticised.
That's just not nice. Yeah.
It's not nice. You know, she's beautiful. You know, and it's really sad to see that sort of thing done. And, you know, should Supergirl have done better? You know, yeah, maybe. Is it? You know, it's a B-list character next to Superman. Yeah, maybe. You know, is it 'cause Toy Story 5 was out the week before? Possibly. You know, there's any number of things. But
I think Toy
unfortunately,
Story
I think,
did all right, didn't it? And it's
it's done very well. Yeah, I took the kids to see it. You know,
did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. You know, Truth Bomb. A lot of Pixar stuff are short films that they stretch into feature length.
Yeah, I found that with the other ones, to be honest. I like the first two, maybe 3 less so, 4 even less. I've got no real interest in seeing number 5.
4 was a film that didn't need to exist, and
exactly that, yeah.
This one had some quite nice stuff in it, and the kids enjoyed it. But I can't see that we'll actually, you know, watch it again. And it still had bits in it that I was thinking, well, why has it got this happening? It just literally doesn't need this. You know,
you don't need it.
No.
Is it a bit? I mean, I don't know. I saw the trailer when I went to see Supergirl, actually, and I think I'd seen it on something else that we saw a month or so back, which I can't remember what it was now. But either way, it looks like it was kind of preaching about the whole, you know, sort of technology replacing old school toys.
It's not
and things.
preaching it. I mean, it was quite good because the screen thing, you know, your kids are older, so it's different. But, you know, for younger kids, you know, it's a problem.
My kids had screens.
Well, yes, I suppose they did, but
Well, it's weird actually because Lucy, my eldest, grew up with using laptops and PCs and things predominantly. So she was in her first sort of PC game type thing is loading a CD in the drawer and playing it on that. Whereas Freya, who's only 2.5, 3 years older, younger rather, her thing is iPads. Right, because she was born when they just start coming out. So when she was old enough to use one, we had them, and that was her thing. And she's proper fluent on that. Lucy is now, but she wasn't. There was a time when the two of them kind of struggled. So like Freya struggled to get on with a sort of computer setup, and Lucy struggled with sort of iPad kind of setup. Well, not struggled is the wrong word, but it wasn't as natural. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you know, we have to, you know, limit the time the kids spend on stuff, but for games really, because otherwise they're just on it for hours. And the film was, you know, it made quite good points, I thought, really, about screens just essentially brainwashing, particularly young kids and boys in particular. And there was quite a few bits in it where they'd show like the view across the sort of houses nearby, sort of thing. All the lights are out, but there's just these blue glows. Separate rooms of people. Yeah, not blue screen of death, but just people, you know, mum, dad, kids separate on their screens. And it's really sad. And the end message of the film was that screens have some usages and they are quite, you know, they are good and we shouldn't, you know, discount them. But, you know, for a young kid, there's nothing better than, you know, being with actual people and friends and playing.
We're social animals, aren't we?
Yeah.
But then a lot of people find their communities online, you know, and some people find those online communities a lot easier than they would in a one-to-one social or in a group social situation. A lot of people are, you know, disinclined towards being in a group. Some people feel really nervous or anxious.
I understand that. I just think, like, for me, I don't want my kids spending the whole time on screens. I think they need to be able to communicate with people and play with their friends. And when Ethan went to youth club a couple of weeks ago, and I went by with the girls, and we poked our head into the window, and he was sitting in a room with his two mates. None of them were talking to each other because they were all on their phones.
Yeah.
And I said to him, that's not what you go there for. You go there to all be together, and if you
But they can be sociable on their phones together, surely.
No, it's not. They're sitting there in a dark room, not talking to each other. It's absolutely not the same, and I feel really strongly about that. Chatting on your phones in the same room is tragic, really. And so after the film, Ella wanted to play with her Monster High dolls, and then Phoebe they got this little tree house and horses and stuff out, so we played with that. So that was really nice, So there's screens, I think, in moderation, but there's too much of it, really.
They're another thing that's never going to go away, is it? I mean, they just brought out.
You can't ignore it,
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about this ban in schools for mobile phones.
I think that's good.
A lot of schools kind of ban mobile phones anyway.
It's not for phones per se. It's for like WhatsApp and YouTube
the social,
and stuff,
the social stuff. But I don't know how I feel about that, because I think actually it's probably quite limiting, because phones and access to the internet and all the other stuff that comes with it. There's good stuff as well as bad stuff.
Yeah, I think it needs regulation.
A lot of the good stuff aids learning. It can do, quick reach of information that you need to complete an essay or find facts or whatever it is, or learning games that you got, like Kahoots and stuff like that.
I agree.
So
but
you ban all of that from school. I mean, even use your phone as a calculator.
Yeah, I think they need scientific calculators, as we found out at his school induction yesterday. But I think YouTube, it needs some sort of regulation, because
I agree. I think it does, but I think what it shouldn't be is a complete blanket draconian regulation, which is what it seems to be, just to appease those more kind of right-wing minded, perhaps. I don't know.
Also,
I mean, we shouldn't just let them throw Pandora's box into the classroom. But I think some sort of recognition of the value and potential positive contribution of phones and things in schools. It's not all bad.
No,
it doesn't have to be that way. And a lot of it, I think a lot of it is down to education anyway. And if you're going to be educated about good use of screens and phones in a classroom, then you're in the right place. Also has to come down to the parents as well, right? So you've got to teach your children, like, good behaviour on phones and stuff like that. But I think also what's kind of really important is that it's one of those things that is always going to be with us. And if you take it away from someone, you drive it underground, right? And then what? And then it becomes a worse problem by doing that, right? Because you find kids are smuggling phones into schools now, and getting into trouble for it when they don't need to, and all kinds of other things. It's like, well, why would you do that? Why not actually do the opposite? Accept them, limit their use for sure, monitor it in some way, but just an outright ban, I don't think is really going to work.
On phones, is it? It's a ban on a lot of the stuff from the 13-year-old kids.
Okay. So how are you going to police that? If you're going to let a phone into a school, how are you going to stop your kids using WhatsApp or YouTube or whatever?
Well, I think it needs participation from the phone companies. A 13-year-old doesn't need to be on TikTok, and I think that there is an overabundance of crap on these places, like Ethan's been watching.
Totally. I totally agree.
And you're
with
right
that.
about the learning side of things. And Ethan's been watching, I think he's called Mark Roberts, and he's like an engineer, and he makes kind of fun engineering things. He's on Netflix as well now.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's fun to watch. But watching people fill swimming pools with Orby balls on YouTube is just a waste of time. And I just think it needs to be regulated a bit more. And I think these bullying thing and stuff is a major issue. Ethan's already had a bit of that sort of stuff going on in phones, and he's 11. He didn't need that. Nobody needs it, really.
Yeah, I agree. So that kind of thing needs to be taken on by the social media platforms, not the phone companies. They need to police those better, because they can do. They can do this. They just don't. No, because they don't care.
No.
You know, that's the big problem. You know, we've got Elon Musk on the one hand, we got what's his name on Facebook and everything else. All the rest of it. They don't give a toss about what the kids are. They love all that stuff. They thrive off it. They make money off it.
Yeah, exactly,
so until that kind of rampant, almost capitalist sort of greed, it can be curtailed or be made responsible at the least. There's nothing wrong with people making money. I've got nothing against it. But there needs to be a sort of element of responsibility, especially given how influential these people are in the world.
Yeah.
And they're not responsible at all. You know, they literally throw responsibility off their shoulders. They just don't want it. They don't care. They really don't. And, you know, it actually suits them, or you could say it suits them, whether you agree or not, to have all this kind of chaos sort of building within the sort of teenage populations of the world.
It's all good for them because it's money and stuff, but you're right, they take no responsibility. And I actually genuinely think, you know, the overall impact from phones and you know, the like is detrimental to people as a whole.
I don't think the overall thing is detrimental. I think it depends on. I mean, it can be. I don't know. I mean, if you stuck it all in a pot, would it come out? You know, all the good stuff and all the bad stuff, and sort of siphoned it off. Would there be more of one or the other? I kind of feel that it would be. I like to feel there'd be more good, or at the very least, there'd be a balance of it.
My view is that, you know, we all spend too much time on our phones. We're falling.
If we hadn't have gone onto Twitter, you and I would never have met, mate.
Yeah, well, maybe that would have been a good thing.
This podcast would never have been a thing. All those lovely people who tune into us every week, what would they be doing, hey?
Probably arguing online. But I think, you know, there's too much negativity that we get fed. I think, you know, the you know, psychological impact it has on people with you know, pile-ons and bullying and, you know, I think. And just like I said earlier, just the abundance of garbage. You know, you've probably seen this scrolling through Twitter, and you see a video and you think, "Oh, what's this?" And then after a few seconds, I think, "Well, I'm not watching this. I literally don't care about this." You know, what? Why? You
Why
know,
am I doing this to myself? I know.
I've got to stop.
Been there, mate.
So yes, there are some good things. You know, your mobile banking or your email on the go, and you know, But yeah, there's an awful lot, I think, of bad stuff. Anyway, I think IMAX is amazing. I was trying to think earlier. I wonder what the first thing I saw.
What was the first thing you saw on IMAX?
Well, I honestly can't really remember.
Was it a Marvel film?
No, I used to go up to Wimbledon to the IMAX at the Odeon. So I used to drive up there, and I remember seeing Avatar on it. It may well have been Avatar, to be honest, but I have a vague memory of seeing Ghosts of the Abyss on an IMAX in America, which was the Titanic documentary that Cameron did. And I certainly saw Thor on IMAX.
Mighty Thor.
The first one. And maybe Captain America. And then they had the Cineworld near me had the IMAX, and I saw Avengers on it. But I also went up to Wimbledon to see what's it called? Sucker Punch and various other things. So yeah, they started to become more common, you know, around that sort of time. Because before then, really, I think the only kind of major IMAX in the UK was at the BFI one at Waterloo.
That was the first one, wasn't it? In the UK, at least.
And I went there to see one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films, and I also went there to see U2 3D.
Right.
And that was on IMAX, so whenever that was. So maybe that was one of the first things I saw. I can't remember.
Early 2000s?
Yeah, because it was 360. 2007, it said.
2007.
Yeah. First live action 3D concert film. I was on the Vertigo tour. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So maybe it was that. I remember going to see that specifically. Yeah. So yeah, I love it.
Love it.
Myth that Spider-Man's not on IMAX later in the month. I
saw the trailer on IMAX. That was good. I mean, the screen wasn't fully, extended.
No, it's not formatted.
It did look good actually. Although it's like, I mean, I've seen a few trailers for that Spider-Man film now, and I think I've got a good idea whether. I think I probably don't need to watch film now, to be honest, because if you put all the trailers together, you've probably got a pretty good idea of how the film's going to go.
They say Sadie Sink is Jean Grey.
Yeah, well, they've taken her out of all their promo stuff, haven't they? Because I think somebody kind of leaked it
properly. But it'd be really weird to introduce her.
Yeah, the X-Men.
The MCU's X-Men in it. Bearing in mind, Doomsday has got the original X-Men in it. I reckon she could be. I mean, I could be wrong, but there's a character in the comics called Morlun, who is a man in the comics, and he travels the multiverse hunting
straddles the multiverse.
Yes, hunting totemic characters, so like they're animalistic and stuff. So he's hunting effectively Spider-Man. So he goes around killing, and he's like vampire. So I wonder if she might be.
She might be him.
Adaptation of that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And then also Doomsday is not on IMAX either, which is unfortunate.
What's he going to do?
Go and watch it on
standard.
The next best thing.
You can wait till it comes out on streaming. So it'll only be a few weeks away then.
Why would I do that to myself? I'll tell you what. I won't go to the cinema. I'll watch it on my phone whilst on the toilet.
That's not streaming. I told you. I say, mate, you want to come around my house? We'll sit down in my easy chair, my lazy chair, and
I just
and
can't
watch
do it. If it's a big film, I got to see it. The cinema, I can't.
It'll be as good as a cinema, honestly, because you're closer to the TV. Wait, hold on. Before you start down there, right? A lot of it is in ratios and proportions, right? In a cinema, you're sitting 50, 60 foot away from the screen, right? So it's got to be bigger, right? It still only takes that. In a home, you're sitting 6, 7 or 8 feet, maybe 10 feet from your TV. The distance kind of works out the same. It still takes up near enough the same sort of letterbox in your vision as a big screen.
I'm sorry, but there is no way.
It's science, right? It's like the moon is 400, right? 400 times smaller.
Your TV is not as good as an IMAX screen.
No, I'm not saying it is, you knobhead. What I'm saying is, right, is that the kind of experience is not as far removed as you might think. I compared to the Cineworld, my TV is far superior. I'll tell you now.
To that,
way superior to that.
Yeah.
But okay, with the whole laser projected surrounding massive kind of thing, it's not close, but it's very close, right? When you're watching a movie, right, on the TV, the only thing they should do is have IMAX TVs. I don't know, 4:3 TV screens, like we used to have in the old days.
Most Marvel films on Disney Plus are IMAX aspect ratios. They'll go full screen. To do that, which is quite cool. But I don't know why they don't release them on disc like that.
Right. Well, I got. You're going to hate this, but Snyder's Justice League is on the UHD disc. It's on IMAX format.
Is it?
And yeah, and it's flipping good, actually. I kind of thought, what's the point of watching it on a widescreen TV? Right, I'm going to lose the sides and all that kind of thing. And I remember back in the late '90s when I was working in an electrical shop, and I was trying to convince people who had old school 4:3 TVs to invest in widescreen. And it was like, and now we're talking about actually going back to the 4:3 so we can get IMAX format. But they would be 4:3 screens. That would be just huge, massive. I think the biggest 4:3 screen we ever did back in those days was like 26-inch or something, or 28-inch maybe, might have been the biggest one. So
I'm pleased that you're buying it on disc. We messaged earlier, didn't we? What was it? Sony pulled 500 films from people's libraries because their agreement with the studio ran out
collapsed.
Or something. So you've bought the film, but then because the contract's changed, it's pulled and you no longer have it and you're not getting your money back. And that is small print on all of this stuff.
Pretty much,
You're
it's our
long-term
property.
renting it.
You rent it, basically, that's it.
So same with games, because there was a bit of a fuss about Grand Theft Auto. You buy the new game, you buy the physical version,
six.
but there's no disc in it. You get a download code.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So you just get the case with a download code?
Yeah, for everything. And apparently the disc will come some point down the line.
Probably.
But then Sony...
2075.
Yeah, but then Sony have announced that as of 2028, January, there'll be no more discs for PlayStation. So
interesting, actually.
You know, and I... You know, because my PlayStation 5's digital, which was an accidental purchase in that I didn't realise I bagged that one when I bought it.
They were in short supply, though, weren't they? All of them. So
they were. It came up on the game website, and I was like, oh yeah, good. Put it in. The sale's gone through. Amazing. Oh, it's digital. Oh, what am I going to do with my disc games? I can't play them. You know, it's great that I don't have to get up and change discs and stuff, you know. But they could easily turn around tomorrow and say, oh, yeah, sorry, we're pulling the license. You can't have your Resident Evil anymore.
Yeah, so there's got to be some protections in place, really.
Yeah.
You know, you buy... Because, you know, it's... I mean, I think with games, more so than TV programs, you know, it is a thing that you buy. You pay the same money for a download as you do for the physical game, right? Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, all right, it might be on sale on either format, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you're paying to have that thing. And I think, you know, and again, I don't think I bought a disc-based game, actually, for, I don't know how many years, quite a few years. I tend to download it all now. And even those that I have got discs for, I've got, you know, I've got them downloaded as well. So it's just easy. It's convenience again, right? It's just, you know, you go through your setup menu, you know, your games library menu, just pick out the game you want to play.
Yeah, and it loads quicker, and you know, all of that. It's nice, but and it's like,
but then removing content from, you know, stopping you being able to access the thing that you've actually, you know, because it's not. I mean, okay, so on like you know, what you call it, the whole thing. Oh God,
the what now?
I'm here again, where I forget the name of the blasted game. Flipping, honestly, I hate doing these things late at night. What do they call it, for crying out loud? Oh, for heaven's sake, come on, Laville, you know this. What's Game Pass? Jesus, God, that was difficult. So on Game Pass, right, where you pay a subscription, games may or may not always be available to play, download, or whatever, right? That's a different thing. But if you pay for something, so I pay for, like, you know, whatever it is, Skyrim, Cyberpunk, or Star Wars, or whatever, right? That's me downloading that copy onto my machine. It's not necessarily in the cloud somewhere, and you know what I mean. Until I want to download it,
it's not yours.
Yeah, but the Game Pass, where I pay, which I don't, but if I paid like £20 a month or whatever, that's similar to a streaming thing, right?
Yeah, you're just renting it off that, like literally renting it. Yeah,
so they can pull games from that.
Yes,
that's the thing you're signing the agreement for.
You know, and it's like you know, Disney Plus might remove something, or Netflix will tell you leaving Netflix in 8 days or something. You know, I understand that, and also it's slightly less so with games, but with films, you know, the physical copy is always going to be better picture and a better sound.
Yeah. Well, the bit rate's better for one thing.
Oh, the bit rate, I mean, you know, my Avatar ones are, I think they're on 100 megasecond discs, which is the highest capacity you can get. When on Disney Plus, I just watched it again with Ethan the last couple of days. If we're lucky, it'll be 4 or 5 megasecond.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's, you know, it might be UHD 4K, but
it's not.
But the bit rate is the real decider, the clincher. Yeah. It's, you know, it's how much information are you packing into that signal. Yeah. And from your Blu-ray player into the back of your TV, it can be many times higher. Yeah. So the picture quality is going to be better. I
ordered the Fire and Ash Steelbook. And I open it and I thought, oh, that's weird. The film's on 2 discs. It's so long and it's such high quality. It needs 2 discs. So I then realised I'd ordered the 3D version, which is why it was on 2 discs. Because it's so big. Anyway, so I returned it, got the right one. But Ethan and I started watching the Blu-ray copy of it then. And I was like, oh yeah, this looks great. You know, it looks really good. Then we'll finish watching the 4K version of it, and it looks infinitely superior already.
Infinitely, yeah,
so much better. So
this is one thing I like. I love about the Justice League. I think that the disc you know, the picture quality. Oh man, I went it in, and it just looked gorgeous. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, Snyder, the way he directs stuff is quite arty anyway, right? Because he's basically filming graphic novel panels, you know, in every shot, which I kind of like. But it's just. It's a thing of real beauty. Even actually going back to Doctor Who, since it's a Doctor Who podcast, right? The Eighth Doctor 4K disc is, again, it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful. You know, I've never seen it look as good as when I plugged that thing in. You know, it's just really nice.
You know, high capacity, good transfer. You know, it'll always look really good. You know, and hopefully there's more of a resurgence in physical. I think this recent thing with Sony has kind of scared people a little bit, and you know, I've heard like from a couple of the charity shops that I visit in town when I'm working. You know, the teens come in and they're buying DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, and they want that the same as they want to get you know, vinyl and things as well. You know, and you know, owning the physical copy of things. You know. So, it's good. Right, well, it's getting late, so we should probably wrap up. So, Paul, I accept your apology, and I look forward to hearing about your next IMAX adventure.
I'm not apologising for Swindon, but I'm apologising for misconstruing that experience as the IMAX experience. I recognise that it wasn't, and I am shamed, but ultimately, I'm very happy to have discovered what IMAX is.
Good.
And okay, you were right.
Yeah, I was right. So, if you're watching and listening, let us know what you've seen on IMAX or other formats. I'd love to hear your thoughts and things as well. So, we'll be back next week, hopefully with some circuit breaker Doctor Who coverage.
Yeah, we are.
We've got some other bits and pieces coming up as well. The world of Who might be quieter than it has been for a long time, but there's still things happening. But we will be talking about other things. I suspect we'll talk about Spider-Man later in the month. And if there's anything that you'd like us to talk about, let us know. But hopefully you're enjoying this change of topic a little bit. And if
you made it sound a little bit more exciting, Geoff. Anyway, yes.
On that note, we will catch you next time on
See you next time.
Who Corner to Corner. Bye.
Bye for now.